What's going on, YouTube? This is just a quick little Reader's Digest version of my initial thoughts of the I Am Nancy DVD that was released early this week. Notice how the cover is very J.D. Salinger, Catcher in the Rye-ish, signed by Heather Langenkamp herself here. Very professionally done. They're actually in round two. This was a limited edition 300 DVD set. And they didn't have closed captioning in the first set, so now they have already came out with version 2.0 within the same week. So it's doing pretty good. I didn't really know too much about this documentary autobiography other than what little I heard when I purchased the Never Sleep Again 2-disc DVD set roughly about a year ago. They had shown some clips from this documentary, and I remember thinking initially, you know, this looks like a perfect compendium to this DVD set that I already have. Why don't they just release both of them at the same time? And then I just started thinking, well, maybe they probably didn't want to steal each other's thunder since they're two competing film artists here. So here we go. Wayne's World. Flash forward 1 year later, and I get this Facebook message telling me the release date, and of course I had to pick it up, being a huge horror nut. So what you're going to get with this DVD is the documentary/autobiography. It's told through the testimony of the fans, Wes Craven, some feedback from Heather Langenkamp herself, and Robert Englund. There's an I Am Nancy music video, and there's also an extended interview with Robert Englund and Heather Langenkamp, as well as a 30-minute interview with Heather and Wes, talking about the etymology of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, as well as the phenomenon that, you know, us horror nuts have grown to love today. So just real briefly, I just wanted to focus on some of the pros and cons of the DVD material here. I'm a little bit impartial because I love the franchise. I think it does an excellent job at paying homage to the franchise, as well as the various subcultures that came out as a result of that. I think it's very visually appealing, not only the DVD case itself and the DVD, but the navigation when you pop it in. It has tons of sound bites from the franchise as well as mainstream pop culture, which, you know, helps keep you interested as it's going along. And it runs about a solid hour and 10 minutes, which is pretty solid for a documentary. I don't think I would expect too much more out of that. And it does a really excellent job at giving us a glimpse at how dedicated the fans are. It focuses specifically on a few targeted horror conventions and the impact that the movie has had on the individuals that have grown up and love it by providing testimonial. And not only that, it's amazing to see the various generations of fans that, you know, still love this film for something that was like low budget at the time. Didn't expect to blow up as big as it did. And, you know, now it's like this household name. It also gives us some good insight into the inspiration of the movie. Specifically, Wes Craven's daughter was interviewed, and she was talking about the whole stereotypical why do girls fall down in horror films. You know, nobody is really that stupid. So basically how that idea planted the seed, whether or not it's true or not, I don't know, and had an impact in creating, you know, this Nancy character who is anything but that, you know, that stereotype. And it also talks a little bit about the archetype between Nancy and Freddie, so basically how you can't have one without the other. And like I said, there's some really good testimonials in the film. And from personally what I took away from this is how we all could be a little bit more Nancy-like in our lives by conquering our fears head-on instead of running away from our problems, whether it's, you know, literally running away or running to something a little bit more tangible to, you know, not deal with it. As far as the cons is concerned, the biggest problem that I had with this DVD was the first 10 minutes or so focuses on this fan employee of Heather's husband who's in the process of getting this tattoo at a tattoo parlor. And it discusses how he was acclimated to, you know, the horror genre, Nightmare on Elm Street. And Heather walks in. There's some interplay, but, you know, I really think, you know, 10 minutes was a little bit longer than it needed to be. And it didn't really enhance the quality of the DVD documentary, in my opinion. I also don't really think it addressed the questions that it was geared towards answering, which, according to the back of the box here, is why is it Freddie Mania and not Nancy Mania? And, Heather made a good point by saying that she goes to these horror conventions to bring, to reinvigorate, to bring life back to this Nancy character. But ultimately, the fans are going to have their preference, and 9 times out of 10, Robert's, going to get the kudos. So I don't really think it really addressed that question. And although I do think it did a great job of focusing on the relevance of the horror film heroes in contemporary society, but the director's objective was to focus on Heather and her unique experience playing that role, and I think it fell a little bit short with, getting inundated with all these testimonials from the fans. But other than that, if you are a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, I would highly recommend picking it up. I'm going to go ahead and put the link down at the bottom in case you don't know where to go. And, go ahead and support if you feel the need to. And other than that, that's all I got to say on that. So hopefully this was insightful and either swayed you or waned you, whatever the case may be. So that is all I got to say. Thank you for watching.